think I was the only Asian guy in my high school. Which, if you watch my last video, you know that means counting me, there were no Asian guys in my school. So my high school was super white. It's funny, looking back, I didn't even realize how monotone my school was back then. But you know, us white guys, we never notice that sort of thing, do we? I guess it also could have been because I was almost in all the like AP honors courses, so I was in the same classes with the same 30 or 40 kids all the time. And you know, there may not have been many ethnic kids in the school, but almost all of them were in those classes. So to me, you know, hey, school's pretty diverse, right? No. Our school was so white, they had a bus of black kids that they would bring in from the nearest city to help with the diversity. I'm not making this up. It's true. It's called the Urban Suburban Program. Look it up. Looking back now, though, I can't help but wonder, where was the bus full of Asian kids? Seriously, did they think they couldn't handle any more of us? Maybe they thought that they couldn't afford more AP classes, you know, they couldn't afford to hire more math teachers. That must have been it. Or maybe they're afraid of the gangs. When I got to college and started meeting real Asian kids, I've discovered that Asians form gangs faster than anybody else, like anybody else in the world. If you get a bunch of Asians from like the same country together, it's guaranteed to be a gang just like that. I mean, the only thing that you won't know is whether are they going to be the kind of Asian gang that drives around in those souped up rice mobiles, you know, the basketball jerseys and the backwards hats, or are they going to be the kind of gang that hangs out, plays Super Smash Brothers and watches anime. But that didn't really happen in our school. It's because we had, like the Asians we had, they were all different kinds. We had, like there were 2 Indian girls, a Cambodian girl, I think a Filipino girl, and 2 Korean girls. And 2 of the 3 of us Koreans, we were imports, adopted. Funny, I didn't notice this either, but all the other Asians in my school were girls, or in my class anyways. What are the odds of that, right? That was a rhetorical question. Of course I know what the odds of that are. You don't need to be an Asian to figure that one out. But because they were all different kinds, I mean, we just blended right in with all the white people. I mean, you would have never even noticed that we were in there unless you knew where to look. I mean, but if you did know where to look, I mean, we were let's see, valedictorian, salutatorian, first board chess, first seat orchestra, president Model UN, captain mathletes, yeah, so on. I mean, it's true, we were the king and queens of the nerds pretty much. And as a king of the nerds, you might be surprised to hear that I've actually never been in a real fight. And you know, you just know that it's because in the back of anybody's mind, any bully's mind, they couldn't help themselves. They had to be thinking, fight this guy. I don't know, it's just not worth it. He might know Kung Fu. Of course, that's just a terrible stereotype. I mean, all Asian people don't know Kung Fu. I don't know any Kung Fu. I don't even know karate, right? My black belt's in Taekwondo. It's like a completely different thing. I didn't even learn Taekwondo until I got to college either. I had to. Like, there were all these real gangs of real Asians running around, right? I mean, they could have known Kung Fu. I have to be able to defend myself, right? But, I mean, I felt a little bad for the bullies that were around in my school. Like, every now and then a couple of them would get together and they would, you know, come and try and pick on me, and they'd come up, they'd try and call me names, right? Like, oh, China man, oh, ching chong, chink. And the problem is I'm not Chinese. So, I mean, I wouldn't get mad. I would just tell them, hey, guys, I'm not Chinese. I don't know what you're doing. And this confused them to no end. See, these guys, I don't think they knew any other countries in Asia. So for them, China was Asia. So if I said, hey, I'm not Chinese, to them what they heard was, I'm not Asian. Blew their minds. They would have to conference together. They'd be like, wait, guys, he says he's not Asian. What is that? Well, he's clearly not white. What is he? He's not black? What does that mean? I mean, is he Mexican? I don't think these guys knew any other countries in Latin America either. But seriously, honestly, I think this is what the world looked like to these guys. It's sad, right? I mean, these poor guys are running around the halls. All they want is they just want a Chinese guy to make fun of, and there weren't any. Just weren't any. I mean, nobody ever taught these guys any racial slurs for other kinds of Asians. Other kinds of Asians, right? I mean, do you ever really think about that? Asians are the only people where someone feels comfortable saying, they just meet you, and when the first question's out of their mouth is, oh, so what kind of Asian are you? Usually it's more like, where are you from? No, where are you really from? But it's the same question. I mean, think about it. The next time you feel the impulse to ask that, or the next time you hear someone say that, think, would you go up to a brother and be like, hey, so what kind of black are you? I mean, is that the first question you want to ask? Or some Hispanic person, you'd be like, oh, so what kind of Mexican are you? Seriously. If you can't tell the difference, why ask? I mean, really. Oh, I don't know. I got it all wrong, right? You're actually an expert in Asian cultures, and you just happen to forget what the people looked like there, and that's it, right? Just a big misunderstanding. Okay, but you know what? That's enough about me. The other day, I saw what had to be one of the best headlines I've ever seen.